Hello, it's me again with some opinions regarding yet more kerfuffles revolving around the ethics of YouTube stardom. An article by CVG and a whole bunch of others been doing the rounds about YouTube stars admitting to being paid by developers and publishers in return for coverage of games. According to the survey, let's see, there was 30% of those interviewed had over 50,000 subscribers. And of those people, 26% admitted to receiving money directly or indirectly from a game developer / publisher for recording videos of their games. So that's an interesting thing, and the ethics of that has been talked about. This isn't the first time this has come up. Machinima, of course, is kind of got a rather murky reputation for doing a lot of this sort of advertorial stuff with a lot of their users. The most recent, and by no means the only instance of this with Machinima, was where several people on that network were promoting the Xbox One and were paid by Microsoft to do it, and not many of them actually disclosed that they were paid by Microsoft in this way. Now, maybe my stance on this is harsher because of my background in games coverage. Obviously, I started with traditional reviews, and I still write a lot of traditional reviews for The Escapist as the reviews editor, which is a line of work that probably comes under more scrutiny than any other. I'm sure you've seen many kinds of posts on the internet accusing game reviewers of being quote-unquote paid off by publishers. There are all sorts of conspiracy theories regarding what publishers do to acquire high scores and stuff from game reviewers and whatnot. So this has always been something that's been in the forefront of my mind ever since I've started, really. I've been accused of it myself. There's no way I can prove or disprove such allegations. All I can do is say that I have never been offered money to talk about a video game. So, what I don't know what more I can say. The idea that someone like Electronic Arts would pay someone like me to talk about the video game is hilarious to me as a thing. But the YouTube thing is a little bit different because, I think that the thing that disturbs me about it is that YouTubers have inherited a great deal of increased trust from certain gamers, especially the hardcore gamers. If we talk about NeoGAF, a forum I quite like to hang out on now and then. Many of them have celebrated the rise of YouTube and its potential to quote-unquote kill traditional games journalism because they don't trust traditional games journalism, they don't trust game reviewers, and they do trust YouTubers because YouTubers are gamers just like them. They're men and women of the people, They're just recording video games in their bedrooms and clearly have a more honest opinion because they're not paid off. I mean, that theory I always found funny because it ignores the fact that most game reviewers are just gamers as well. Really, there really isn't that much difference. In fact, most game reviewers are reviewing the games from their bedrooms. But the main point is YouTubers have this sort of, vox populi kind of thing to them. They're people of the people, and that's made them more ripe to be exploited by game publishers and whatnot because they do have that inherent trust. They're not under that much suspicion, and as such have been able to be paid, some of them, not all of them, a percentage of them have been able to be paid to promote games and not disclose it and not really be under any scrutiny for that, which I find troublesome. That to me feels like a problem, and I'm not a fan of it. Some people have said that they're not game critics, people on YouTube, they're just personalities, and there is some logic to that. I see that argument, but at the same time, these are people who are still incredibly influential, more influential than any game reviewer's ever been, if we're honest, especially these days, right now. So, the point there is that YouTubers right now have more influence, less scrutiny, and more evidence of being quote-unquote paid off than anyone else. And I'm not saying this to impugn YouTubers. Obviously this is a medium I have a great deal of respect for, more than many other people who come from a traditional games media backgrounds. Just saying that sounds pretentious. I'm doing this on YouTube. I consider people like Total Biscuit and whatnot to be actually, good sort of professional friends of mine. And I respect a lot of what they do. I'm a fan of the Yogscast guys, who are doing that Yogs Discovery thing where they're upfront about being paid to do coverage of certain games, which I'm iffy on. I am iffy on that. It just doesn't feel right. And again, that might just be my background. The idea of coverage not being independent of employment by the people making the products is just something that feels sketchy to me. But I will give Total Biscuit and the Yogscast guys credit. At least they're being upfront about it. At least they're saying this is what this is. We were paid by these people to talk about this game. And I can't really argue with that. And I can't pretend that doesn't happen elsewhere. I mean, hell, on The Escapist, there have been sort of advertorial stuff as kind of a result of the post-ad block world. They're having to get sponsorship from somewhere. But being upfront about it is the key there. And at the very least, I've seen sponsored posts on a few blogs and stuff that are obviously struggling to deal with the new world of coverage. They're usually sort of actually no, I've not yet seen one like with EA paying to sponsor, do an advertorial on a game. It's normally some other form of tech, something that has a sort of transcendental, I can never say that word right, connection to tech and geek coverage. If a site I worked for was doing advertorial for Ubisoft, I would have to very, very publicly distance myself from that. But anyway, the point is that I've said this before. I've said this on the Jimquisition. Being upfront about things is key. Disclosure is key. So long as you're upfront about things, then there is, what can people hold over you? They can say they don't trust your content, but that's fine. That at least that becomes their decision. I would rather empower the audience to make their decisions on who to trust and who not to. It's why I always talk about, some would say to the point of boring others to tears, sort of the voice acting stuff I've been doing. People know that I am doing some work with Mike Biffle on Volume, and they know I've worked with Luis Hernandez on Jazzpunk. I don't personally review those games for The Escapist. I have done a video on Jazzpunk on my YouTube channel, which, Lewis didn't pay me for or anything, I just did it. In fact, he wasn't too keen on people doing Let's Plays, so I kind of was part of the people that actually kind of irked him a little, so, but I'm always upfront about that stuff because there is a potential conflict of interest there, and if someone doesn't trust my coverage as a result of that, that's fine. That's perfect. So long as I give them the power to make that choice, to make that distinction. I think that's the important key here, and I don't care if you're just, quote-unquote, just a Let's Player, or if you're a game, again, quote-unquote, a games critic. Whoever you are, you're a personality. People like you because they like you, and they follow your work because they become attached to your personality, and they trust you. You have a lot of power, you have influence over an audience, whether that's a big audience or a small audience. And I think the least we could do as people who have audiences is empower our audiences to make informed decisions about our content. A lot of what we do is trying to help inform gamers about the content they purchase, but we should be under that sort of same level of scrutiny. We should be giving audiences the same power to make informed decisions about us, the content they consume online, because without them we'd be face down in a ditch somewhere, you know? So really that's my thoughts. No bitterness or anger about it. I know some people have had a bit of a year about it. Keep on doing what you're doing, everyone's just trying to survive. But I will say for the record, I don't like the idea of receiving money directly from a game publisher or developer to promote their game on one's channel, on one's brand that they've built. But I certainly would prefer it to be disclosed than not, and I don't really hold it against anyone who at least has the spine to say that out loud and say, we were paid to do this. Because really, if you do that, that's showing that you've got nothing to be ashamed of, and you are confident enough in your opinions that you can let them stand under that scrutiny. As soon as you try and hide something, that makes me trust your opinions way less. And yeah, I think that's it. I think I've made my point perfectly clear. You know, you only bury that which you want to hide, and you only hide that which you're ashamed of. If you're not ashamed of it, then I'll trust you a lot more. As iffy as I am on the scenario, I will at least trust Total Biscuit's opinions and the Ogscast guys' coverage of games, and their opinions of the games as inherently more honest, because they're inherently more upfront about it. And that's my thoughts on the whole situation. And I can promise you that my shitty little YouTube channel has not been offered money to cover any of the games. I know it's hard to believe. I'm sure many of you thought I was in Muxwell's pocket for Earth Year 2066, but oddly not. So that's that. In fact, to date, the only sponsorship offer I ever got was for I think it was Geek and Sundry. Some show I think Felicia Day or whatnot was working on, and I got some offer to promote them on a video or two and get sponsored for it, which I didn't take. I like YouTube because it allows me to get away from a lot of that shit. Not that I'm exposed to it really much in the games coverage I do elsewhere, but this gets to be completely separate. So when I get offers, I personally refuse them, and then I will continue to do so. So that's my thing. And yeah, those are my thoughts. I'm off now.